Under One Roof, 10 Years of Stiwdio Maelor, an anthology.
The Guest Host by Julie Upmeyer. A celebration of being human through the telling of 3 tales. A glimpse into the strange and wonderful world of hosting and guesting within artist residency programs. But first, a few definitions. Artist in residence. The deliberate placing of an artist or creative person in a specific context for a given amount of time. This need not be official, perpetual artist residency program. It could be a one-off invitation. Hosting. The act of caring for guests, giving time and attention, help and kindness. It is the preparing of a space and the surrounding environment, as well as oneself, to accept something new. Guesting. The act of being a temporary visitor to a predetermined destination, ideally arriving invited and prepared with gifts, flexibility, patience, and an open mind. For the first story, we find ourselves in Istanbul, Turkey, in late 2010. Çay var mı? Çay var. The guest is hosting. 2 artists are in the thick of a building renovation project in the heart of the hardware district in Istanbul. The building would be home to artist studios, a performance space, and an artist residency program. They visit the worksite every few days to speak with a team of workers and check in on the progress. As Turkish custom dictates, work pauses for the guest's visit and tea is ordered from the local tea seller. Once the tea is served to all of them, the conversation can begin. Towards the end of the renovation, it happens one day that the 2 artists arrive at the building before the construction crew. They are working to complete their office on an upper floor of the building. They unpack their new Turkish tea kettle and make a fresh pot of tea. When the workers enter the building, they are greeted with the familiar smell of strong black Turkish tea. Çay var mı? They ask excitedly. Is there tea? The artists smile and reply, Çay var. There is tea. In this single moment, there is a leveling out of class, a blurring of guest and host, foreigner and local, us and them. For a moment, all are equal, drinking together the fruits of shared time and place. After that day, the artists regularly make tea, serving their friends, resident artists, and other guests. The second story takes us to Korea, on Daebudo Island in 2014. The studio visit. The host is guesting. A lone artist disembarks bus 123 with her suitcase 3 hours outside of Seoul to find a campus of 6 sprawling buildings completely devoid of human life. Eventually, she finds a note taped to a door in English. Back at 5, 2 hours to go. That evening, the artist finds herself in a spacious room at the end of a long corridor, her home and studio for the next 3 months, wondering where the 50 resident Korean artists are in this tangle of surrounding buildings. As she discovers in the coming days, most of the Korean artists have studios for a year or more and are not resident, visiting now and then from their homes and workspaces in Seoul. She is left to discover the surroundings with the 2 other foreign artists in residence, the third set of residents that year. She writes notes and sticks them under the doors of the Korean artist studios. Please come for a studio visit, room 103. The next month, someone comes, unannounced, late one afternoon. Lacking a shared language, the two artists conform to the basics of guesting and hosting, awkwardly offering and receiving store-bought snacks and cheap beer. The next week, the artist is invited to the studio of the Korean artist, which is well populated with materials, interesting things, and artworks in process. The roles are reversed. Drinks and snacks are again offered and received. This time it's easier. The artist is invited to an art event in the city a few weeks later, meeting a wider group of Korean artists and international creatives, a few of which she is still in touch with today. The third story brings us to a house named Plas Bodfa in North Wales between 2019 and 2022. The Bodfa exhibitions. The house is hosting. There is a house on the edge of an island that finds itself suddenly quite empty after decades of industrious actions. It waits patiently with an expectation of love and care. One day, on the invitation of a family, themselves newly arrived onto the grounds, it throws its doors open to curious and creative visitors. The guests investigate each room, wall, window, dusty chandelier, and floor tile, connecting the house's past lives to their own. The house offers its space, and the artists offer their ideas and creations. The new family declares it to be an exhibition and creates opening hours so that everyone is free to visit. At the end, some of the creations are taken away, while others remain to join the assortment of gifted and forgotten objects already in the house. Time passes, and the process happens again, with more artists, more ideas, and more layers added to the house. The family begins to use the house for various projects and activities. The guests become friends, and the house becomes familiar. Artist residencies exist as microcosms of society. Selected aspects of the real world are chosen and acted out in a set space. Specific constructions of life and work. In these three stories, gestures of hosting and guesting are vital tools in confronting new situations and are used in the process of homemaking. They are a first step in breaking down barriers that might otherwise exist between disparate humans that find themselves sharing space and time. What happens in artist residencies certainly does not stay within artist residencies. Both guests and hosts emerge from each residency experience affected. They re-enter the wider world with a new set of thoughts and experiences, ideas to try, and encounters to reflect upon. Thank you.